Hi there, I'm going to show you how to make some really cool bass synth sounds. Again, we'll use ES2, so that's a synth we've become quite familiar with, but you can essentially use any synth you like inside Logic. I'm also going to show you how to create kind of the wobbling effect that is quite common in dubstep music production, how to kind of change the speed of the wobbles and things as well. So I'm going to again create a software instrument track. I've created an empty one here, just come out of automation, and I'm going to pop on an ES2 synthesizer. Okay, wicked. So again, you should be making your own presets really, rather than relying on the presets that are already in there. But there are lots of cool synth-based sounds if we load them up. It's quite good to have a look at presets, gives you an idea of sort of characteristics. Okay, so have a level. Excellent, but we'll make our own bass sound. So I'm going to kind of try and create like a dubsteppy type thing. So I'm going to go to tutorial settings there, analog saw in it, and just take it back to a sawtooth wave. So when you're building up bass sounds, I usually sort of think it's a good idea to get quite a thick texture. It's a little bit like the creating a lead synth sound, but obviously it's in a lower range on the keyboard. So obviously one of the first things we're going to want to think about is putting it into monophonic mode, because it's a bass. You're not going to want to play chords. I'm only going to ever really want to play one note at a time with a bass riff. Also, I'm going to want to take it probably down to a lower octave, so I can tune my oscillator here, and I'm going to take it down by 12 semitones, which is an octave. Okay, that sounds pretty cool already. I'm going to just fatten up the texture a little bit though. Let's add in a couple more oscillators, maybe go for some different shapes. I'm going to maybe go for a sine wave, because I quite like the depth on that. And I'm going to add that with a bit of sawtooth as well. So like I've explained before, if you want to kind of thicken texture with a synth, then a good idea is to detune it slightly, the oscillators, but detune it by cent values. That's this control here. There we go, you can sort of hear how it's slightly gone out of tune there. I could add another oscillator in there as well if I wanted to. I can play about with filters, got cutoff and resonance here, which can also change the sound. Make it kind of thinner or fatter kind of sounding. It's kind of a bit poppy when I'm sort of playing a note, so to eradicate that I'm just going to bring the attack up slightly here on my envelope. Just takes off that kind of clicking part at the beginning of the waveform. Could add some distortion, get a little bit more aggressive. That sounded quite cool. So there's no kind of hard and fast rules with creating synth bass sounds. Really, the main thing is about detuning the oscillators, taking them down an octave. Or more if you want. Blending the sounds, a bit like creating a lead sound, playing about with your filters and your envelope to sort of suit your needs. Obviously you're going to want a bass usually to be fairly punchy, so a quick attack time, again sort of fast release as well. And if you put it in monophonic mode as well, that's a good idea. Okay, let's look at kind of creating a bit of a wobble as well. So I'm going to switch off all of these, except for the here. Now what I want to do is I want to get this LFO to modulate my cutoff. I'm going to be creating that kind of effect. So it's cutoff number 2. There we go, because it's filter number 2. And then source down here, I'm going to choose LFO2. Now the reason I'm choosing LFO2 is that if you bring it down here, you can see it actually syncs with the tempo of your project by giving you these kind of quantization values. And we can program those in using automation, and we can vary them and things like that as well. But it means that the wobbles are in time with your song, which if I put the click track on, we'll hear that in a minute. So LFO2 is your source, cut off number 2, and I'm going to turn this up to make it very dramatic. So if you play around with your cut off and resonance and stuff, you can sort of change the way it sounds. Anyway, so there we go. We can sort of hear it's there pulsing kind of at quarter beats there if I put it in with the click track. You can hear how it's sort of perfectly synced up. So as long as you kind of quantize your notes and things like that, then you can also program in the speed of the wobbles. So let's just program in some notes. Excellent. I'm going to quantize them to quarter notes. Just put that on a little loop. And then we can automate the speed of the wobble. So if we go into automation, and again, we don't want to volume automate, we want to actually automate a control on the ES2, and it's the LFO, and it's LFO number 2, and it's the rate. So I know what it is I want to automate. I've got this turned on and ready to go, and we can see at the moment it's set to quarter notes. So let's say when it gets to this note here, the speed of the wobble goes up a little bit, and we take it up to like 8th notes. And then we could go like really fast here, take it up even further to like 16ths, and then maybe go slow for the last note and back down to kind of quarter note wobbles. Alright, so I'm getting in some variation and stuff there. Okay. Probably just, if I was being really fussy, make sure I kind of quantize out the length of these notes as well, just to make sure that they are actually a full note long. Excellent, so you know, that's sounding pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. If I added like a sort of drum pattern under that. Okay, don't have a loops library at the moment because it hasn't loaded, but you know, if it adds some drums and things under that, it'd sound pretty cool. And that's how you create a kind of dubstep wobbly bass. It's relatively straightforward.